Happy Wednesday, everybody, and welcome to episode 21. Depending on who you ask, they say that making it to 21 episodes puts you in the top 1% of podcasters. Now, let me be clear. This is not the top 1% for money. It's not the top 1% for downloads, not the top 1% for private jets, but it is the top 1% for not quitting. And in today's day and age, with people tending to start things and not finish them, it is quite an accomplishment. And so you'll see that there are some balloons in the back to kind of help us celebrate today. We are talking about grit, tenacity, follow through, comebacks, and what happens when you decide to keep showing up.
Hey, Stephie Kay got something to say. Talk that listens, clears the way. Truth on the mic, grounded in change. You sticking with that? Oh yeah, we sticking with that. Laugh it out, talk it through, we ain't looking back.
Some chats ain't easy, but we take it slow. Tough stuff, tackle now, watch us glow.
You sticking with that? Yeah, we sticking with that.
Starting is sexy. The gym membership, the new business cards, the planner, the new notebook. People love starts because it feels clean, doesn't it? There's no mistakes yet. There's no setbacks. Everything's fresh and kind of new and exciting. But real growth, that happens when the shine wears off, when nobody's watching you, when the results maybe didn't come as fast as you thought they would, and when you had every excuse to not keep going, but you did anyway. Well, let me tell you something. There were moments with this podcast where it would have been very easy to stop. Technical problems, there's been mic issues, editing headaches, re-recording intros, second-guessing topics, thinking, is this worth it? And maybe some of you know that feeling. It's a different dream, but it's the same question, isn't it? Is this worth it? Whether it's marriage, fitness, healing, a business, your peace, sometimes the hardest part isn't the work. It's doing the work before the applause arrives. But here we are, episode 21. We're still talking, we're still learning, we're still building, we're still connecting, and that means something. Everybody loves dramatic comebacks. To share a little comeback story of my own, a few months back, I purchased a rechargeable split end trimmer. Some of you may have tried one of these already. I do still use mine actually. But when I first received it, I didn't really read the directions. I tend to just open it and start using it right away. I don't know if anybody else is like that. But anyway, in this particular case, I would definitely recommend looking at some directions. And what ended up happening was some of my bangs got caught up in it, and they're growing back now. So that is the first real super exciting comeback story that we're sharing today. Just adding that to the list of many, many things I've done that I normally wouldn't mention, but I guess today's the day. If episode 21 means I'm top 1% in consistency, then let me confess some other categories. I'm top 1% in buying equipment before understanding equipment, top 1% in overthinking captions, top 1% in over-editing, top 1% in loving every minute of this. And maybe you've got your own categories. Top 1% in diet starts Monday, top 1% for pretending you're fine in public. We all got categories. I've had seasons in life where I had to rebuild confidence. Times where things didn't go how I thought they would. Moments where I've had to start over emotionally. And if you've ever had to rebuild anything, you know this truth. The second build is stronger. Because in many cases, we didn't even see the first one coming. The first one used hope. The second one uses grit. And that's why we'll find no shame in our game here with having to restart. And that's on anything. Having been a leader most of my life and a role model for many, many children through dance, I pride myself on always being authentic and helping those that I taught to also feel good about themselves through inspiration I would give, the hard work we put in, all the stuff. But apparently there was a period of time, as I look back, where I was a little unsure myself. And something not many people know, I actually dabbled in Botox. believe it or not. I had a setback story where they actually hit the muscle, one of the things that isn't supposed to go wrong. And I had kind of the sagging eyelid, and I remember everyone thought I had a stroke, and I went back in there and she's like, oh, it's just gonna have to wear off. There's nothing we can do for you. And that was cool. And I remember it was right about the time of nationals. And so some of you looking back, if you were worried about me, you now know what that was. Fast forward a few years, and I'd gone to the doctor for some issues that I was having. And they ran a gamut of tests, and it was nothing serious, but she said I had a plugged duct around my eyebrow. One could argue that it is unrelated to the Botox. However, it is kind of in that same spot where it generated, so that was awesome. The first surgery didn't work, and I had to go in for a second surgery. I don't remember if she told me at the last appointment or when I was, laying there about to go into surgery. And she said, well, by the way, there's like a, 8%, out of 100 chance that we'll have to actually cut into your face, by your nose to fix this and have it be successful. And it was kind of one of those low numbers where you're like, okay, that's never going to happen. It's like that, it'll never happen. So I woke up and she'd cut into my face. And so my face is a little bit, is it asymmetrical? And I know they always say, your eyes are supposed to be sisters, not twins. Anyway, but I kind of walk around sometimes just pretending it's a little more even than it is, which is cool. But that was definitely a setback in my life, because for me, having so much with the dance studio and, you take pictures everywhere, and I am actually a picture queen where I really like to take pictures of everything, whether I'm just having dinner with my kids or dinner with a friend. I really love to take pictures of the moment wherever I am. And so that was a huge, huge thing for me. One could argue that, did the Botox cause the plugged duct, which then caused the 2 surgeries and needing years and years of having that heal up? We'll never know. But in my opinion, there's a strong chance. Probably yes. Time heals everything. And I think sometimes the real lesson is in loving who we are and being okay with that, whatever capacity it is. Interestingly enough, not too long ago, on a side note, I did see an infomercial from a doctor on Instagram. And the only reason I'm mentioning it is because it did make the news. And what was said was this: Botox kills the center for empathy in your brain. So it made the news. And of course, I think the same day they debunked it, whatever. But when I actually saw that, it went right through me. And I guess there's a movie, I don't know which movie, someone could research that and get back to me, where they actually say just that exact same thing. So then I started to think, they put so much pressure on all of us, but largely women, to look a certain way and blah, 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 doing all these extreme tactics to improve our appearance without realizing at all long-term effects. From my experience, if something goes right through me when I hear it, there's a reason for that. Also, from my experience, if they debunk something right away, chances are we should look at that a little deeper. I think the real lesson here is, before we inject anything into us, we need to really research every single thing that's in it first. But the great news is I'm still here. I'm still smiling. This is just one of many times that yours truly has made lemonade out of lemons. And I know I'm speaking to many of you who are out there doing that every single day in some kind of way. And just know that things do get better. I think it is so important that we remember that we are beautiful exactly as we are. Sometimes people don't quit because they failed. They quit because progress got quiet. No instant reward, no instant proof, no fast payoff. But seeds are underground before they're visible, aren't they? You may be in a root season. Nothing flashy, nothing to post, but growth is happening. Always remember, don't confuse invisible with absent. 21 things that require grit. Let me run these quick. Raising kids, marriage, forgiveness, healing, faith, boundaries, fitness, saving money, recovery, starting over, leadership, learning patience, sobriety, building trust, consistency, dating wisely, peace, purpose, business, podcasting, becoming who you said you'd be. That last one, that one hits. Maybe you're thinking of quitting something right now. Maybe not everything, just the part of you that once believed. Maybe you're tired, and I get it. But I found that sometimes the breakthrough is emotionally parked right outside the door people leave. One more week, one more rep, one more prayer, one more honest conversation, one more try. Not forever, just one more. Can you imagine if that's true, the empathy thing? And when all those moms find out, can you even imagine what they're going to do? For my Stephie Kay random thought of the day, we just never know where this is going, do we? One of the main goals of this podcast is to help us all connect again. For those of you who grew up in the 90s or earlier, basically before cell phones, do you remember how easy it was to make friends? You know, it'd be like, oh, I like your bike. Cool. You know, I like your ponytail. Great. Cool. I love your shoes. And then you were just like best friends forever. And now it seems like it's just such a struggle, doesn't it? So when you're making a new friend, and whether it's, you know, just a friend or someone to date possibly, it seems like there's rules now where you're not supposed to call too often or, you know what I mean, text too often and wait so much time between and so many days. And that just seems like total crap, doesn't it? I mean, how are you supposed to build a friendship if you're not talking regularly? Just doesn't make any sense. It just seems like those first days and weeks and months are what builds your foundation of the whole relationship. And so if you're not putting in time or you're being inconsistent and just showing up once a week, how are you supposed to build anything solid? So it seems to me that's an area that we need to look at more closely. You know, for me, if someone texts me, I don't ever think, oh, I need to wait a certain amount of time to reply. I just reply right away. I might not see it right away. I might not see it for a while, but once I see it, I'm going to respond. I'm not going to hesitate. It seems to me that if we all got back to that, that'd be one huge thing we could do right away. For those of us seeking relationships that have meaning and depth, perhaps that's one thing that needs to be fixed or changed per se right away, really, so that those foundations can be built. For a quick share, thinking back to my dance studio, as you know, I mentioned it's part of a franchise and there's over 200 programs. And I retired spring of 2019. The two programs that I started both in Iowa and Nebraska, they're flourishing. In fact, the gals that took over for me received Director of the Year. One was the Rookie Director of the Year and one was Veteran Director of the Year. And I believe both programs are also in the top 10. They've done that on their own. They've built that. That is all them. It just goes to show that when the foundation is solid, you have even greater chance of success. There are many exciting things brewing behind the scenes. And as I've learned my lesson, I will wait until they're out to tell the world so that you can just live in shock and awe once it's out. Everybody wants the win photo. Few people respect the invisible days that created it. Everybody wants confidence. Few people want the repetition that builds it. Everybody loves the comeback story. I mean, I do. It's my favorite story. But while they cheer the comeback, they ignore the comeback behavior. Small steps, quiet faith, repeated effort. Staying when it's boring, trying when it's awkward, believing when it's delayed. So if life feels slow right now, good. Slow things often last. And if nobody's clapping yet, good. Some victories are built in silence. And if you needed a sign not to quit today, maybe this is it. A reminder that all new episodes come out on Wednesday nights at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. We are on all major social media platforms. I'm Stephie Kay. And yes, I am sticking with that. Be sure to love someone a little extra this week. We'll see you soon, everybody.